All right, the final stage, doing the details. So I'm going to add a new layer under my details subgroup, and I'm going to get rid of everything else here just to focus on the head. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my imprint tool. I brought in a couple of wrinkle alphas and a couple other scaly kind of things that might have worked pretty well too, but I didn't end up using. And I find a good setting. It ended up being like 0.3 at the with the invert function on to subtract inward. May even turn down my layer power a little bit. But when I laid down these stamps of wrinkles, I like to orient them in a realistic way and to help flow the eye. So instead of just stenciling it on just a huge, map that just had a bunch of wrinkles on it, I'm trying to actually think about how these wrinkles actually might look on the actual surface. And also keeping in mind that I'm going to probably erase out some of these for a reason I'll tell you in a second. But just laying in slowly. Takes a little time doing it this way, but I think it looks pretty cool. And the reason it keeps popping up black and gray like that is because I don't think I didn't use it as a TIFF file, or it didn't have an alpha, and that was probably my bad, but it still works. So just if yours doesn't look like that when you stroke it on, it's not a big deal. And then as you can see, I'm kind of rotating the stamp as I stroke it on. Bring in the teeth, but I'll lock it by clicking right next to the circle next to the object. That way I'm not affecting the teeth, but kind of gives me an idea of what surfaces I need to sculpt on. And I'll just kind of go back and forth with the different kind of wrinkle maps. Every now and then I have one that's a little bit more coarse. And again, I'll hit the back side of his head so it's not forgotten, even though it'll probably never be seen. And I'll also switch off the mirroring. So when I get closer to the middle, I'll turn off the mirroring, and I have that on a hotkey. I have it as X. And just the key is to remember to turn it back on. It's just adding more textural wrinkles, and that's what this layer is here, and that's what these wrinkles are for, is to kind of give that last just bit of tactile kind of, I can touch that, I can tell that that's a wrinkly surface, that possibly that it's a weathered and worn creature. I'm using the erase tool to erase out some of the wrinkles in the flatter portions where there might not be any real uniform wrinkling. It's kind of a subtle effect, but I think it definitely helps. And the last of the last stages is to go in with another layer. I call it extra, and then I go and carve in to the areas that I put all these stamps on, and I'll enhance the texture of that wrinkle with the carve. So I'll dig in some key wrinkles even further to kind of help give it more depth and to tie it with the previous efforts before we did all these textures. So it's kind of a blending. It's a blending of the stamp layer back into the major kind of tertiary forms. And this could be a pretty fun part of the process too. It's a bit tedious, admittedly, but I think it looks pretty cool afterwards. And it's, like I said, it's fun to go in there and enhance what you've already created. So hopefully you get the idea that this isn't all about detailing. There's a lot of work that was done initially to get to this point, but it made all this so much easier and more predictable and faster. I sculpted this entire torso of this character in less than 11 hours, I think. So maybe you get this done in one kind of long work day. If you keep yourself organized with the layers and the sculpt groups and having good topology to work with while you're sculpting and using good tools, you'll be good to go. So best of luck in your own creations.